I want to make sure I ask you about the revision toolkit, but it occurs to me that there's one other thing I have to ask you about, because when will I have another opportunity to ask about this? You were in charge of managing another writer's estate. You're the executor of the
Yeah,
estate.
it was.
What is
Yeah.
that process like? What is that?
It
What's that
was
role?
it was complicated in some ways. It was a friend of mine, an older person who was my mentor. Her name was Vesla Fenstermaker. She was an Indianapolis writer, wonderful writer and poet. And she asked me if I would do that. And I said yes, that I would. And she was not a writer, she was not a super prolific writer and not a famous writer or anything like that. It would be very complicated if she had been. But mainly it was my job to collect her work, to make sure that I had all of the things that she had done, and that included in some cases correspondence and journals and whatever, and sort of decide what to do with them. And in some cases it just, in her case, some of it just went to her family. And what I ended up doing was she had been kind of shopping a poetry manuscript the last years of her life, and so I ended up putting that manuscript together, and by way of the Writers Center, we published that poetry manuscript. And we had a really lovely memorial for her, and a lot of local poets each, read one poem at the event. So for me, it was, it's basically organizational stuff and deciding where things should go. So that was, I felt honored that she had asked me, that she trusted me to do that.
Well, obviously, I'm determined I'm going to live forever. But for authors who are listening who might one day perish, what should authors be doing to set themselves up so that when they're gone, their work's protected, their family is going to be protected? How should a writer set up
I
the
mean, I
state?
think you should identify a person or people who you trust to do that, and talk with them, and talk about what you would like to have done with your stuff. Some of my I was invited to send some of my young adult manuscripts to, I cannot even think of what the archive is now, but it's a university of one of the University of Florida's, I can't remember which one, but they have kind of an archive of young adult manuscripts in honor of a guy who was, very instrumental in helping books get out there. He was an educator. So, I was really honored to be asked to do that. And I'm sort of trying to decide what I want to do with my nifty notebooks, because I think those, I would like for people to be able to see those, because they have some interesting things about process. So I haven't actually I have thought about it, but I haven't decided that. And I think it is something that I should do. Sometimes you can get money, for those things. Libraries will pay, or universities. I don't think I'm that kind of a writer. So I'll hope that I can find a home for them, in one of the universities that I attended, or, maybe public library. That would be nice too.